The alien invasion fleet had just entered the solar system. Across Earth, sirens screamed. Command centers erupted into panic. Military leaders prepared for humanity's final battle. And in the middle of it all, one woman sat quietly reading a magazine. Chief Engineer Ava Hayes didn't look worried. She didn't look surprised. She didn't even look up. Crew members raced through the hangar as a holographic alien commander appeared above a workbench and roared, "Your extinction begins today." Everyone froze. Ava calmly turned a page. Then she smiled. Because the invaders had already made a mistake. They just didn't know it yet. The Zython swarm wasn't just another alien empire. It was the reason entire regions of the galaxy had gone silent. For nearly a century, star systems vanished after encountering the swarm. No survivors. No negotiations. No warnings. Just empty worlds and drifting wreckage. Every civilization that fought them lost. Now they were heading for Earth. Military analysts projected total defeat within 72 hours. News broadcasts showed evacuation lines stretching across continents. Fear spread faster than the invasion itself. And yet Ava Hayes remained calm. That was what unsettled people. Not the enemy. Her. Every few minutes, she glanced toward the tactical display showing thousands of hostile ships approaching the solar system. Then she returned to reading her astronomy magazine as if nothing was wrong. Crew members began whispering. Did she know something classified? Had she given up? Or was she seeing something nobody else could? Then a junior technician noticed a strange pattern. Each time Ava looked at the invasion map, she marked a note inside the magazine. Not random notes. Observations. Calculations. Connections. Suddenly the room felt different. Maybe she wasn't ignoring the crisis. Maybe she was studying it. And when military intelligence discovered a heavily restricted file linked to Ava's past, emergency orders arrived immediately. The engineer calmly reading a magazine was no longer just a mechanic. She might be humanity's best chance of survival. The answer wasn't hidden in a classified weapon. It wasn't buried inside a secret military project. It was sitting in Ava Hayes' hands the entire time. As intelligence officers rushed into the hangar, they finally uncovered her forgotten history. Years before becoming an engineer, Ava had worked on deep space exploration missions where survival depended on solving problems nobody had seen before. That was humanity's advantage. Not strength. Not technology. Adaptability. While most species searched for familiar answers, humans learned to recognize patterns inside chaos. Ava saw one immediately. The more she compared the invasion map with her astronomy magazine, the clearer it became. The Zython swarm wasn't behaving like an empire. It was behaving like a hive. A living superorganism. Suddenly, dozens of seemingly random fleet movements made sense. The attacks weren't strategic. They were instinctive. That realization changed everything. Military commanders focused on destroying ships. Ava focused on understanding behavior. And behavior could be manipulated. As analysts reviewed her findings, shock spread through the command staff. Every major Zython offensive followed the same biological patterns found in swarm predators across nature. The enemy wasn't adapting. It was repeating. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity possessed something priceless. A weakness. Not in the enemy's armor. In its thinking. Then Ava walked into a secure war council filled with admirals and government leaders. The room expected another status report. Instead, she pointed at the tactical display and calmly outlined a plan. Silence followed. One admiral actually laughed. Another called the idea impossible. Because Ava wasn't proposing a bigger fleet. She wasn't proposing a stronger weapon. She wanted to trick an enemy that had conquered half the galaxy. And somehow, the more she explained, the harder it became to argue with her. The question was no longer whether her theory was correct. The question was whether humanity was brave enough to try it. The fate of Earth came down to a single gamble. And somehow, humanity's last hope was an engineer with a magazine. The Zython Armada crossed the outer defense line and surged toward Earth. Thousands of enemy ships filled tactical displays. Across command centers, officers braced for the worst. Then Ava gave the order. Human fleets began transmitting a strange signal deep into space. At first, nothing happened. Enemy ships kept advancing. Casualty reports started flooding in. Several admirals demanded the operation be aborted. Had Ava been wrong? For a few terrifying minutes, it looked that way. Then the invasion fleet did something nobody expected. It turned. Entire battle groups suddenly abandoned their attack vectors and accelerated toward the source of the signal. Confusion swept through both sides. The signal wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a trap. It was bait. Ava had discovered that the Zython hive instinctively prioritized rare energy signatures linked to reproduction and expansion. The signal convinced the swarm that a massive resource cluster existed far from Earth. The enemy wasn't chasing a target. It was chasing an instinct. The effect was immediate. Fleet formations shattered. Command coordination collapsed. Ships began competing for position. The perfect invasion force descended into chaos. Human commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. For the first time, the unstoppable swarm looked vulnerable. Then Ava revealed the final phase. Hidden defense platforms activated across the region. Human warships emerged from concealment and struck the disorganized enemy from every direction. The battle turned into a rout. Victory was suddenly within reach. But one critical transmitter remained active near the center of the enemy formation. If it shut down, the swarm would recover. Someone had to stay behind and maintain the signal. Ava quietly stood up from her station. The room fell silent, because everyone understood exactly what she was about to do. Humanity thought it had won, but victory felt strangely empty. The Zython swarm had retreated beyond the solar system. Earth was safe. Cities celebrated. Military fleets returned home. Yet one question remained. Where was Ava Hayes? The engineer's ship had vanished during the final moments of the battle. Search teams found debris, emergency beacons, fragments of wreckage, but no sign of her. Weeks passed. Memorials appeared across Earth. People remembered the woman who stayed calm while everyone else panicked. The woman who saw a solution when the galaxy saw extinction. Then, just as hope began fading, a long-range listening station intercepted a signal. Weak, damaged, human. The message contained only a set of coordinates. Rescue ships launched immediately. What they found shocked the entire planet. Ava was alive. Her damaged vessel drifted near the edge of deep space, barely operational but intact. When reporters finally asked how she remained so calm during humanity's darkest hour, she surprised everyone. She held up the same astronomy magazine, the one she had been reading when the invasion began. Inside was a folded page covered with notes, diagrams, and calculations. Ava smiled. Everyone was staring at the enemy, she said. I was trying to understand it. That answer spread across the world, because it captured something uniquely human. Fear focuses on the threat. Curiosity searches for the weakness. And throughout history, humanity survived impossible odds not by avoiding problems, but by figuring them out. Years later, a statue of Ava stood outside Earth's Central Defense Command. Not holding a weapon. Not wearing armor. Just sitting with a magazine in her hands. A reminder that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one who panics. It's the one who stays calm enough to think. And somewhere beyond known space, another mystery was already waiting for humanity to solve.